What I want to do today is talk about Elinam Agbo. And for those of you who don't know her, she is a fourth year. I'm sure everybody here knows her, but she's a fourth year. I'm the one who's learning about her. Fourth year in the college, pursuing a biological sciences major and creative writing minor. She was born in Ghana, immigrated to the United States at the age of 10, the same age when I immigrated to the US. She is grateful to have found fiction and for the freedom it gives her to explore the convoluted terrains of identity, displacement, and memory. Her non-literary hobbies include watching good movies, K-dramas, and when she has time to kill, anime. She also enjoys long walks and deep conversations with friends and other agreeable people. So there you have it. That is Elinam Agbo. So why did I pick her? Her work, I should say, and not her, because I didn't know her. But it isn't easy to make human experience and human states of minds come alive on the page. Helplessness, pain, loss, longing, isolation, alienation. Elinam Agbo's writing succeeds in doing just that, and I was struck by the poetry of her prose, beautifully stark and poignant, by her skillful command and manipulation of craft techniques, point of view, for instance. More than anything, I was struck by her ability to accurately portray one way by which humanity can sometimes be reduced to just a shadow of itself. And may we never lose sight of our humanity, our shared humanity. And may Elinam continue to write, because I look forward to reading more from you. And as I was telling you earlier, for me, I think a beautifully crafted story is just a beautifully crafted story. But what you do beautifully is you invoke the emotion and the humanity, and that's what really spoke to me in your work. So thank you.
Thank you, Chanela, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you all for coming. This story is not yet titled. It is afternoon on a school day. We are on 555 West Hawking Street. The fading address is inscribed above the front door of an elegant Victorian cottage. We say elegant as we would for an ancient landlady we respect, mostly because of the jewels she wears. We do not care much for her capricious moods, those we ignore. You see, she tends to forget. Anyway, about the house. The current residents are still new to everyone on the block, and we are curious as to whether their newness has to do with what they are. The family is Black and African, a unique identity in this town. Their country of origin is either Gambia or Ghana, and since no one wants to offend, the family is safely referred to as African. They have lived here for over 2 years now. Their 3-year anniversary arrives next month, and the neighbors have been debating a gift. The town has a culture of hospitality, and while the last visitor, now a fully assimilated resident, arrived 2 decades ago, they are people of integrity. The gift giving must at least be brought to the table. At the weekly town hall assembly, council members put it to a vote. Have vote yes for good behavior and relative quiet. The opposing have vote a stern no for an uncomfortable reason they would rather not disclose. Everyone knows the reason is the woman. The other members of the family are well-kept and social, mostly agreeable. The man, a physical science professor, is always seen in a crisp suit. The daughter is top of her 7th grade class and vying for student council president. Meanwhile, the teenage son is a track star who smiles and waves at everyone. This woman, however, is a ghost. The only concrete thing the neighbors have observed about her is that she has a penchant for bird-themed polyester fabrics, which she wears as casually as one would strapless dresses. Except, of course, they are not strapless dresses, or even dresses for that matter. The last time more than 3 neighbors reached a consensus regarding the woman, everyone decided the birds on the fabrics were parakeets. Specifically, this is what they know. Every Saturday morning, the woman hangs her underthings on a clothing line next to the garage. 2 hours later, she walks out her back door with a hose slung over her shoulder, still wearing that parakeet cloth, except this time there are black tights and a baggy t-shirt underneath. The neighbors find this routine peculiar. No one seems to consider why she rarely comes out. If they do, they haven't mentioned it to either of the town's psychiatrists. Enough about the neighbors. They have one another to vent to, if not the psychiatrists. The woman has her own problem, a compounding problem. Saturday is the first day of the week she leaves the house of her own volition. The cause? A person-shaped shadow is growing on the east-facing wall of her bedroom. It is a shadow that only seems to appear when the others have left for school. It is not a tangible demon she can fight, and when she attempts to escape the house, the shadow extends a flexible arm to block her exit. She is too afraid to walk through it, so most weekdays she does not leave the house at all. It's not like she hasn't tried to find a way out. If she could drive, she would borrow her husband's Camry before the rest of the family left for school. She would leave a nice note about wanting to explore the countryside and probably allay their worries by preparing their favorite foods. Banku and okra stew for the girl, jollof rice for the boy, beans and plantains for the husband. Unfortunately, she cannot drive yet. She does not trust other cars, so this option is void. She would offer to clean her neighbor's homes if she were not afraid of dogs and the rumors she heard before arriving on the continent about reclusive people who shoot at anyone they don't recognize. So far, the zucchini bread, spinach casserole, and Christmas party invitation from one charming old lady have deflated the weight of these rumors. But she had not anticipated being imprisoned in her own home, and certainly not by a shadow. She is contemplating asking her kind son for help, but each time she tries, she loses her words, maybe because his behavior so resembles that of his father. When both are faced with discomforting situations, particularly incomprehensible ones, their response is a specific brand of fight or flight. In the woman's case, they do not understand the relevance of the shadow or why one should fear it. Accordingly, they have convinced themselves there is no adversary at all. The only person whose mind remains plastic to the problem is the girl. Unfortunately, she, like the neighbors, is uncomfortable with her mother's Saturday morning attire, to say the least. The girl has grown ashamed. No, ashamed eliminates too many possibilities. She is ashamed, disappointed, and a little frightened of her own helplessness. Each of these must be considered in light of the others. The last 2 years of molding herself to the new place have hardened her, made her less sensitive to her mother's struggles. The girl tried assimilating her mother, giving Microsoft Office lessons twice a day, repeating colloquial words she heard in school, even the bad ones, only to find each lesson to be like the first. In the rare instances they have ventured outside the town, the woman has demanded cutlery at 3 different restaurants, and each time the girl has rescued a puzzled waitress with the translation, silverware. They have since stopped eating at restaurants. They only do when there is no alternative. Exasperated, the girl has shifted her energy to assimilating herself and herself alone. In any case, the woman has not made mention of the shadow to the girl. This Saturday morning, the woman wraps the usual cloth over her tights and baggy t-shirt, now holed from wear. She anticipates her daughter's complaints since that too has become a routine. "Ma, you can't wear that outside," the girl bellows in her 12 trying to sound 20 voice. She comes running in her Mickey Mouse pajamas, rubbing sleep from her eyes. The woman smiles, her way of an apology, and reaches for the hoe anyway. "Really, Ma, you don't know the things they say about you," the girl says, concern ringing through her voice. This comment is new. The woman knows people in town do not ask for her name, that they call her the professor's wife, a label they use but wonder about, especially when the neighbors play their version of telephone and the gossip chain goes from "she hangs underwear on a clothing line and wears a cloth in the garden" to "she wears only underwear in the garden." She knows the daughter hears these things, from the girl's sobbing admissions to her father, but today is the closest these burdens have come to being confessed to the woman. She's left the house behind now, breathes in the crisp air. Slowly, deeply, she must savor it. The woman walks past the first 3 rows of tomato. She stoops to pluck a weed when she notices she's been followed. The girl is still in her pajamas, hands folded across her chest. She stands with authority, like she is ready to speak her mind, to be heard. The woman raises her eyebrows, patient for an explanation. Her defense is prepared and solid. For her, the garden is the only place where things are as they should be. The girl's mouth opens to form the first syllable of her claim, but before the words can escape, she flinches as if touched by a cold hand. Only she has. The shadow has followed the woman outside, and from the girl's wide eyes, it seems she can see it too. For a second, the woman is paralyzed with fear. Then she lunges at the shadow as if it truly is a demon come to take her child. Later, when she looks back on this moment, she would ponder where she found the courage, what she was thinking to accomplish. For now, her arms fall through the figure, her eyes into a brief darkness. Just as she feels her daughter's small hand steady her, she is flooded with distant images and sounds. Here she is, finally graduating from university after several years of raising 2 children on a primary school teacher's salary. Here she is, teaching accounting at a prestigious secondary school. She remembers the names she had before: teacher, madame, director of student affairs. Here she is now, a shadow trailing behind the boisterous voices of an adapting family. She hears her relatives chide during the phone calls. Why are you complaining about loneliness? You are in America. Others will take your place if you don't like it. She remembers how she stopped calling home when she chose to neglect any thought of loneliness. This is how she began to lose her voice. Another series of images, brighter and warmer, interrupts. She is playing ampe with her daughter. They are baking a cake for the first time, from scratch. During a blackout, the children gaze at the night sky with her. They invent lies for each constellation, a welcome distraction from the darkness and the sharp smell of burning mosquito coil. The woman squeezes her eyes against the clash of light emerging from the shadow, too many memories contending for her attention. Ma, look, the girl says from her place in the garden. Her tone is incredulous, like she sees everything her mother sees, like she is beginning to understand what happens when she is away, when they are all away. Bracing herself, the woman opens her eyes and looks deeper into the heart of the shadow, where the girl is pointing. Across a blurry storm that resembles time, a child in a purple uniform waves gleefully at her mother. It is morning. School bells are ringing. The mother waves back from the threshold of their home. A couple of hawks circle back and forth, relaying overheard murmurs her way. The tall weeds in the front yard, the creaking gates, the unattractive exterior of the house. But this woman pays no heed. The aroma of freshly cooked banku and okra stew surrounds her. She is wrapped in a polyester fabric, one that is outlined with birds. They are indeed parakeets. Thank you.